Good morning. I have myself a chair here so that I can sit comfortably, and you're welcome to have a chair or you're welcome to sit on a cushion or right on the ground as you prefer. So our theme for all of the classes this week is the theme of peace, which is, I think, an appropriate theme for this time of year as we head into the holidays, which is typically considered to be a time where we should feel peaceful, but it's also typically a time where many of us have a struggle with feeling peaceful. And peace is a feeling that comes and goes. It's not something that we're going to arrive at and then be peaceful for the rest of our lives. So kind of think of it as stringing little moments of peace, like pearls on a necklace that, over time we can string those together and create a feeling of greater peace in our lives. But it's these moments that we have that we can string together to create a greater sense of overall peace. And that doesn't mean we're never going to feel crummy feelings again. We're never going to feel challenged or unpeaceful. Absolutely, we will have those feelings as well. But that we create some pathways in our mind to come back to peace more quickly when we feel off our center. So when we have a sense of peace, we're also aware that there is that shadow side, and that shadow side is important. It's not uncommon for people when they come onto a spiritual path to deny or ignore any challenging feelings that they might have, and that creates something that we call spiritual bypassing. And so we want to still acknowledge and embrace and accept the whole of who we are, even in those moments where we feel challenged, where we feel unpeaceful. So if unpeaceful is how you're feeling this morning, please don't try to force yourself to feel anything other than you feel. It's okay how you feel. If you cry through this whole class, it's okay. Right? It's all welcome. If you were here for the class that I did, the free class, we talked about everything being welcome. Who we are in each moment being welcome. So accept whatever is present for you this morning. And if you're not feeling peaceful, see if you can connect with a sense of compassion for yourself around that. So I have my notes here, but of course it's hard to see them. And I think I've covered everything that I wanted to say. Yeah, all right. So we'll do a little bit of a check-in. I'm just tuning into how you're feeling this morning. So if you like, you can close your eyes. And if you prefer to keep them open, that's completely fine as well. Maybe just soften your gaze a little bit so you're not distracted by what's going on around you. And take a moment to notice how your body feels this morning. So if you've just sort of rolled out of bed and turned your computer on, you might feel a little groggy still, or maybe you've already been up for a while and had a cup of coffee. So simply notice how your body's feeling this morning. Often we're a little bit stiffer in the morning, so you may be aware of that as you sit here. Feel where your body meets the ground or wherever you're sitting on, and see if you can have a sense of settling a little bit more deeply into that connection, into that support. Allow your shoulders to drop down away from your ears. Soften any holding around the jaw. So notice if you're clamping your teeth, soften around the jaw and the mouth. And then start to tune into the rhythm of your own breathing. So without the need to change anything, simply notice that you're breathing. However you're breathing is perfectly fine. If you have a cold or some other challenge with your breath this morning, notice that. And please never force your breath. Always honoring your breath and your body and anything that arises as we go through the class. And check in with your mind. How busy are your thoughts this morning? I often find that my mind is the calmest in the morning, but that may be different for you. Maybe you wake up with a big to-do list. So notice if your mind seems distracted for you this morning, or if it feels more calm, peaceful. There may also be the sense that you're about to fall back asleep, especially if you've woken up recently. So notice all of that, whatever's present. And then you might also check in with your mood. What side of the bed did you wake up on this morning? Are you feeling cheerful and ready to start the day? Are you feeling a little down and Monday morning, new week? Does that get you excited or fill you with dread or somewhere in between? So noticing all that is present for you this morning, physically, mentally, emotionally. And then take a moment to visualize something, anything that brings you a sense of peace. Maybe that's your bed. Maybe it's a person that you feel peaceful in their presence, a place, maybe a place in nature. Or it could be a special object, something that you treasure that feels peaceful to you. So bring into your mind that person, place, thing, or any idea, feeling in your body, if that's helpful for you, that brings a sense of peace. So if it helps you to bring your attention back to this peaceful symbol as we go through the class to help you to re-engage or reignite that sense of peace inside, you might use that as a mental focus. And again, if peace does not come easily to you this morning, or if you're feeling not at all peaceful, maybe even irritated this morning, please see if you can find some compassion around that. We all have moments like that, days like that, sometimes weeks. So we'll do a little practice with the breath before we start some movement. And this morning the practice with the breath is simply to breathe in fully and pause for a second or two after the inhalation, and then exhale fully. So it's a brief pause. It should never feel like a strain in the breath. So you're inhaling, holding the breath for a second, and then exhaling. So the inhale is about inviting energy into the body, and that hold sort of solidifies that invitation, and exhale fully. A few more breaths like that. Then we can start to move the spine a little bit. So from your seated position, taking that cat-cow movement. So on your inhale, you're going to let the back extend or arch a little bit. And as you exhale, you can allow the back to round, the head coming down. So inhaling, draw the shoulders down and back, the head lifts slightly. You don't want to throw the head back, keeping it in line with your spine, and then exhaling to round the back, chin coming in. Take your time with your own breath. So I might be breathing more quickly or more slowly than is comfortable for you. And I really invite you to tune into your own rhythm and your own breath. Sometimes when we're in a class with other people, we kind of get pulled into the rhythm of the group. And when you're at home by yourself, or maybe your pets are with you, mine are not with me today. When your pets are with you, or if you have a friend practicing with you, it's a little more easy to get distracted from your own rhythm. A few more here. Right, and then let's come back to a neutral spine. We'll do a little movement for the head and shoulders. So today our practice is a gentle practice. It's really all about warming up the joints and bringing peace into wherever we're working in the moment. So we'll work with the neck right now. Sorry if I touched the microphone, I'm still not quite used to it. We'll work with the head and the neck. So as we create some space in areas of the body, you might imagine that you're breathing peace into that space. So let's take the head to one side to begin with. Notice how your neck feels as you turn it to the side, and then you can make a little half circle across the front of your chest, coming up to the other side, and then draw back again. So go side to side a few times and see if you can stay connected and tuned into what you feel. And as you feel the sense of movement and space waking up in the neck, you might invite a sense of peace to fill that space. If you feel like you'd like to make this into a full circle, you can certainly do that, being cautious not to let your head fall back behind your shoulders. So a nice way of thinking about this is if you imagine a clock face in front of you, and imagine your nose running along the numbers of the clock. You can go one direction a few times and then go the other way a few times. Right. And then as you come back to the center, take a breath in, pause for a moment. Filling the neck with peace, exhale, and let the shoulders release down, and you can take the arms down to your sides. We'll take a breath in, lift the shoulders up, roll them back, and then draw them down. You can repeat that a few times as well. Again, tuning into recognizing, noticing what's going on with the shoulders this morning, how they feel. And as you feel a sense of creating some space and movement and openness, you might invite peace into your shoulders. Well, the shoulders and neck are very vulnerable areas in the body, prone to injury. And if that's the case for you this morning, if you're noticing challenges in those areas, bringing compassion if peace doesn't come easily this morning. Right. And then let's relax the arms down to the sides. Imagine weights on your hands, and you can even reach the fingertips down and draw the shoulders away from the ears. And then let's bring the hands up, and we'll do some circles with the wrists. And again, checking in how your wrists feel as you do this movement. Is there any restriction, discomfort there? As you do these circular movements with the various joints, we're inviting lubrication into the joints, creating a little feeling of spaciousness maybe, and inviting peace into that space. You could make fists with your hands and circle with your fists, which is going to give you a little different feeling of stretch across the top of the hands and wrists. Right, and then stretch the fingers wide. Feel a stretch across the palms of your hand. And squeeze the hand tight. And then stretch wide. And squeeze tight. And one more time. Okay, bringing peace to your hands. And then release the fists and give them a little shake. So letting that go. We're going to transition to stand, so you can come up from your seat or the floor. I'm going to move my chair just off to the side here so it's not in the way. And as you come to your mat, finding your feet under you in mountain posture. And I'm now facing the windows. Last time, if you were with me, I was facing the other way. And I'm seeing that it's starting to get a bit light outside. So it's that magical dusk time of day where there's a real sense of transition into the day. So let's bring the awareness down into the feet. Feel a sense of being grounded. Maybe even imagine that the ground beneath you has that quality of peace. So as you stand in this place, you're standing on peace. And again, if peace isn't coming easily to you this morning, please, as best you can, connect with a feeling of compassion toward yourself. Let's bring the palms together and put a little pressure against the hands so you feel some stretch up into the forearms. And then from here, we'll take the hands and lift them up, and you can let the chest lift as well. Exhale and circle the arms around. And I'm seeing that my hands are coming off the screen, but you know where they're going. Straight up overhead, breathing in. Exhale, big circle, reach out. Imagine you're spreading the peace from your arms and hands and shoulders where we've worked to invite peace, and you're spreading it out into the space around you. Filling the space with peace. Inhale, lift. Exhale, circle. This time, as we bring the arms down, let's take the hands behind the back. And if it's available to you, you might interlace your fingers. Otherwise, you can keep the arms separate. And we'll take the heart and lift it a little as the shoulders relax down and back. So we're not trying to squeeze the shoulder blades together, but feeling a little lift through the heart. Take a couple of breaths here. And then release. Extend the arms up overhead, bringing the palms together and then back into the heart, like you're gathering all of that peace and bringing it back into your own heart. This time we'll take the arms, lift them up. We'll separate the hands till they're about shoulder distance, and you're welcome to bend your arms, especially if your shoulders feel tight this morning. You can even bend them quite a bit. And try to keep your shoulders relaxed. So even if the arms are up overhead, you don't want to be scrunching the shoulders up. So keep this sense of space for the neck, space and peace in the neck. And then we'll lift the torso from the hips to the ribs, lengthening the waist, breathing in. And then as you exhale, tip over to the side, only so much that you're not twisting. Inhale, come to center. Exhale, extend to the other side. Inhale, center. As you go to the side, try not to collapse the side that you're going to, but reach out of it. Back to center. Always exhaling to the side. Inhaling to center. If the arms get tired, you can lower them to the shoulders. Good. Let's come back to the center now. And we'll release the arms down, coming to a forward bend. And you can bend as forward as is comfortable for you. We'll come up with the breath in, raising the arms. Exhale any amount forward. So I'm just bringing my hands to my knees and going part way down. If you want to go further down, if you want to reach all the way to the floor and that's available to you, then feel free to do that. Bend your knees a little bit and focus on letting your head relax, especially in that down position. So you're not trying to look up at me at the screen. You're letting the head release. I'm realizing I'm coming very close to the mic, so I hope I'm not getting too loud for you. Nothing worse than a yoga teacher screaming at you. This time as you come forward, if you'd like, you can stay, and that could be with your elbows on your thighs, and that's a great position. If you're feeling any pressure in your head, this time of year, sinus issues are a big deal, so you might want to keep your head above your heart. And if it feels better to you to really release and relax down, you can do that as well. And then we'll come all the way up, breathing in, bringing the palms together, inviting that peace back into the heart. Inhaling here, and exhaling to release your arms to the sides, coming back to mountain pose. Take a moment to reimagine that peace all around you, peace in the ground, maybe peace in the heart as well. And again, I probably can't remind you enough, but if peace isn't coming easily to you today, please don't think there's something wrong. This is normal. We can't always feel at peace. So finding compassion as you need to. So we're going to come into warrior pose now, warrior one, taking the left foot forward any amount. So the wider your feet go from front to back, the more challenging the pose becomes. You'll take the back foot, turn it out a little to the side, just so that the foot can be comfortably on the ground. And then as much as possible, the hips turn back towards the direction you were facing. So you're going to bend your front knee until it comes just over your ankle. So you don't want to go beyond your ankle, which can put a little strain on the knee. The back leg is straight, heel pressing down, really connecting to the earth through the back leg. And then from here, we'll raise the arms, bending the elbows, and moving them down and back as you come into the pose. So there's your inhale position, and then your exhale position, the leg straightens, the arms come back down. So inhale, this position, elbows lower than shoulders. Exhale, coming back. If I show you from the front, the arms look like this. And then back. A couple more at your own pace. And then on the last time, if it feels comfortable for you, you might bring your hands onto your front knee, onto the shin, or reach down toward the floor and take a few breaths in a forward bend here. Coming all the way up with the breath in when you're ready. And then exhale, arms down. And you'll step your feet back together. So with the theme of peace, when we work with warrior pose, thinking about a peaceful warrior. So being peaceful doesn't mean that we just roll over and let people walk all over us, but that we stand our ground, but we do that in a peaceful, loving way. Let's take the right foot forward now. Your left foot can turn a little bit out to the side so that your foot can be on the ground and you can be comfortable here. And again, that front knee bends only as far as straight over the ankle. And from here, you'll inhale, raise the arms, drop the elbows, lift the heart, and then exhale, coming back to your starting position. So inhale, find that openness. Exhale back to neutral. And then the next time, when you're exhaling, if you like, you can add the forward bend. So it could be hands to the knee, shin, or reaching down toward the ground. Or if you happen to have blocks, then you can use your blocks. And take a few breaths here. And then lifting all the way up. Exhale, coming back to where we started. And you can turn to the side on your mat and take the legs a little bit wider. So now starting out with the feet parallel to one another, we'll move into Warrior Two, the second version of Warrior. I think most of you are familiar with the Warrior poses. At least when we started the class, everyone who was online has been in my classes before. So this should be quite familiar. So we're going to take one foot and turn it out all the way to the side, so pointing towards the end of your mat, and then bend that knee so it's also pointing in the same direction. The other foot can slightly turn in the same direction. I think you can probably just see my feet on the ground. So one foot is pointing straight, the other one kind of on an angle, and that angle is whatever is comfortable for you. So you want to make sure that knee check down with your one knee. I don't think I said which side to do first. So check down that that knee is centered over your ankle and that you can see your big toe on the inside of your knee. So the knee tends to collapse inward. If I show you from this angle, we want the knee pointing straight forward, but there's a tendency for it to twist in. So look down, check in that your knee is right over your ankle. And then from here, arms out to the sides, and see if you can find a position where it feels like the arms are parallel to the ground, and then extend from one fingertip tips to the other fingertips and let your shoulders relax down. So feel the strength here. So in order to ignite peace in our lives, we need to actually work at it. We need strength and stability. Right? Peace isn't just about, feeling warm and mushy and good. It's certainly about feeling good, but we need sometimes strength to overcome the challenges to peace. So we're going to start to come down towards side angle pose. You can turn your bottom palm forward and reach down the inside of your leg or wherever is comfortable for you. And then we'll come into the reverse warrior, bringing the back hand to the back leg, turning the palm towards your face as you lift that arm up overhead. So going down to one side, and if you want to coordinate your breathing, exhale as you come down, inhale as you lift up. Exhale as you go down. Follow your own breath rhythm. Don't try to match me. I'm talking and taking extra breaths as I need to. So you follow your own rhythm, your own breath. Next time you come into that side angle pose, so you're down towards the bent knee, you can either take the hand onto the knee or you can take the forearm onto the knee. This arm that's up in the air, it could come to rest on your lower back with the palm facing away from you, and that tends to be a little easier on the shoulder. If you want a little more stretch, that arm can be straight up overhead, or it could reach overhead for even more stretch, and then your palm would face the ground, and you're going to reach out and extend that line from your back foot to your top hand. The shoulder's going to want to come up to your ear. You're going to draw it back down and spin so the chest goes a little more toward the ceiling. You can come out of any pose at any time if it feels uncomfortable for you. Modify as you need to or with the suggestions that I give you. When you're ready to come up, you'll lift up to Warrior Two, shoulders down, arms parallel. Feel the strength of this posture. And then we'll lower the arms and turn the feet parallel to one another. And before we do the other side, let's step the feet together and just let go of the effort from that side. And then we'll try that warrior sequence, Warrior Two, with the side bend on the other side. So start by taking the feet apart. Turning the opposite foot now, straight out to the side. The other foot can turn in slightly. Bending the knee so it's over the ankle and pointing straight ahead. So remember all those little pointers of the ankle and knee lining up, and then looking down to make sure you can see your big toe on the inside of your foot. In this pose, the hips could be facing the direction where they started, but what happens is as you turn the hips, the knee starts to turn, and maybe you can see that on the video. So I'm going to keep my hips slightly at an angle because I'm honoring this knee. This knee is my priority here. The hips can be off to the side a little bit. And then we want the shoulders facing the long edge of the mat in Warrior Two, arms out to the sides. And breathing here. Feel a sense of the arms being strong but relaxed. If your arms get tired, bend the elbows, turn the palms up. And then from here, we'll turn the lower hand forward, actually both hands forward, as we come toward the side angle pose. And then reaching back for reverse warrior, bringing the hand to the back leg. The other palm would face you as you reach it up and overhead. If your shoulders feel restricted, make those movements smaller, so don't lift the arm quite so high. Exhale as you go down toward the bent leg. Inhale as you lift up. So you're always welcome to coordinate the breath with my suggestions. You're also welcome to breathe and move freely. So we never want to strain the breath. When you come down to the side angle pose, this time again, it could be hand on the knee or forearm on the thigh. This upper arm could come to the lower back. That's going to be a little easier on that shoulder. It could reach straight up, or you could turn the palm toward the ground and reach it overhead, and then extend that line from the back foot out through the fingertips, drawing the shoulder down, a little pressure against the bottom leg with your arm to draw the chest toward the ceiling a little bit more. So rather than facing the floor, you want to think about facing the side, and if anything, a sense of lifting. Coming all the way up to Warrior Two. Find that strong, stable stance here. Arms parallel, knee over the ankle. And breathe. Let's straighten the front leg, turn the feet parallel, lower the arms. And you can step the feet together and give a little shake. So now we're going to take the legs wide again and come into a forward bend. So this you can do by having the knees a little bit bent, and you'll either take the forearms to the thighs or reach down toward the ground. So taking a breath in to begin with, raising the arms up. As you exhale, make sure you put a little bit of bend in your knees and either take your forearms to your thighs or reach to the ground. Let your head release down, and then inhale, lift all the way up. Feel free to bend your elbows if there's any issues with your shoulders at all. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, lift up. Excuse me. As you come forward next time, feel free to stay. If you prefer to keep moving, if that feels better for you this morning, then go ahead and keep moving. Otherwise, you can stay either with the hands or the forearms on the thighs, or letting the body relax down toward the ground. And I'm not so much modeling this idea of bringing the head right down in those forward bends because of the microphone, and I'm trying to keep the static away as much as possible. But if you can really drop your head here, really let your neck release, give a little traction for the spine through the weight of the head. When you're ready to come up, if you like, you can bring your hands first to the thighs and then come all the way up, or come all the way up from the down position. In one breath, and releasing the arms to your sides. So again, we're going to do one more position with the legs wide, one more posture with the legs wide, but bringing everything in and giving it a little shake before we do that. So the next posture we'll do is a twist for the spine, and it's also done with wide legs. And you also have a few choices for what to do with your arms. So the starting position is here, arms to the sides. You're going to turn to one side and bring the opposite hand to either the thigh or the shin or the ankle or the foot or the floor, wherever you can reach. So some kind of forward bend. And then the other arm will reach back behind you, and you can look behind you as well. The other option is to take the hand to the lower back. And that's going to, again, be easier on the shoulder. So each inhale will bring you to center. Exhale, you're going to twist to the side and look behind you. Try to keep the spine long as you twist. Doesn't matter how far you go down. It's more about keeping that nice length. Inhaling to the center, exhaling to the side, or moving and breathing freely if that's better for you. Maybe one more to each side. And then when you do come back to center, you'll lower your arms down, and you can step the feet together. And pause for a moment in mountain pose. And then we're going to make our way to all fours. So you can take a breath in, stretching the arms up overhead. As you exhale, come to a forward bend. And then you can bring your hands to the ground, either step back to downward dog if that's a posture that works for you, or you can step the knees right in underneath the hips. So ultimately we're going to end up in all fours. So if you've come to downward dog, lower your knees to the ground. And then we'll do either cat-cow, so inhaling, arching, exhaling, rounding, one option, or inhaling and arching, and exhaling, going to child's pose. Excuse me. I hope that's not too loud. So continue with all fours to child's pose or cat-cow. And for those of you who want a little bit more strength work in your practice, not really strength work, but that your wrists can take the weight and it's comfortable for you and you like the stretch of downward dog, you could come into downward dog at any time and either pause there for a couple of breaths or just take that into part of the sequence. So it could be all fours with an inhale, child's pose with an exhale, and then all fours with an inhale and downward dog with your exhale. You're also welcome to rest in child's pose if you like. Take another minute or so with this movement. Where we're going next is onto our backs. So if you've had enough of all fours, child's pose, and downward dog at any point, you can always just come onto your back and rest for a moment. Wrapping up the kneeling position movements. And transitioning onto your back. And as you come onto your back, you might have your legs straight or bent, it doesn't matter. So you're going to come down onto the ground, and you might take your hands and rest them on your abdomen or somewhere where you can feel your breath. And we'll take a brief pause here. We won't be doing a long shavasana at the end of the class today, so we'll take this moment to rest and check in. We'll end with a bit of seated work today. So take a moment here, tune into your breath. Come back to that symbol of peace that you visualized earlier if you did. We talked about maybe a person or a place or a thing that brings you a feeling of peace. You might bring your mind back to that image or that idea, if that's helpful for you. Feel a sense of peace beneath you, peace in the ground. Peace with your breath. Again, if you're not feeling particularly peaceful this morning, maybe even the suggestion of peace is irritating. When you're not feeling it, it can be really averse. You can feel very averse to the suggestion. So if that's the case, acknowledge those negative feelings and see if you can engage with some compassion. We'll take a few more breaths here. Your shoulders, your neck, your face relax. So next we'll work with the bridge pose, and I think that most of you are familiar with the bridge pose. So you want to have your feet planted on the ground underneath your knees, and the feet a few inches away from the sit bones, and they could even be a little bit further away depending on how your knees feel about this posture. So the closer the feet are, the more flexed the knees are, and that can be challenging on some knees. So having the feet a comfortable distance away from your hips. The arms can come down to your sides. And you have the option, you can either leave the arms on the ground beside your hips, or you can lift them over your head as you lift the hips in bridge. So either way, we'll start with a breath in. And as you exhale, put a little bit of pressure into your feet. Feel your lower back move a little closer to the ground. And then as you start to inhale, you'll pick the hips up and maybe also extend the arms toward the ground behind you. And then as you exhale, you'll come down, and if you've raised the arms, you'll lower the arms as you lower the hips. Try that again a few times, moving at your own pace, lifting and lowering, maybe adding the arms in, maybe leaving the arms relaxed on the ground, especially if you've been dealing with any shoulder issues and this feels like too much with all the work that we've already done. Continue a couple more times at your own pace. And then as you come down to the ground this time, pause and stay there. And then you can bring both knees up in toward your chest and bring one hand onto each knee. So you'll start with straight arms, moving the knees as far away as you can without letting them go, and take a breath in. As you exhale, draw your knees in toward your chest, bending the elbows, and as you inhale, straighten the elbows, move the knees away. Continue that movement for a few more times. If you want to add some circles to that movement, you can circle the knees around. You could rock a little side to side, back and forth. So really it's about massaging the muscles of the back and sacrum, releasing any tension there. And then as you bring the knees back into the chest, take one foot to the floor, doesn't really matter which foot. Reach the hands behind the other leg, and we'll straighten and bend that leg a few times. As you lift the leg, you might flex the foot if you want a bit more stretch, toes pointing toward the face. And you can relax the foot as you bend the knee and gently squeeze it in toward the chest. So if you want to coordinate breathing, inhale as you lift the leg, exhale as you draw it in. And if you want a little bit more feeling of stretch here, if you want to make this movement slightly more challenging, extend the opposite leg straight out on the ground. Keep that leg active, foot flexed, heel pointing down if you've straightened it. The leg that has been moving up and down in the air, you can leave that leg relatively straight. It can certainly be bent as needed, and you might circle that ankle around. As you circle the ankle and create some space, invite peace into the ankle, into the leg. Good, and then flex your foot, feel that stretch up the back of the leg. If you want a little more stretch, gently encourage the leg a little closer to your body, but always honoring where your limits are, never pushing past when your body says, that's enough. Right, relax, bring that knee into the chest, and then release that foot to the floor. We'll bring the other knee in toward the chest and take the hands behind the thigh. And same thing on this side, lifting with the breath in and bending, squeezing in as you exhale. Option to flex the foot for a little more stretch as it reaches up, and relax the foot as it comes in. Again, the option also to extend the opposite leg, which will make the stretch in the leg that's lifting and lowering a little bit more intense. Keep the leg on the ground active, toes pointing toward the ceiling, heel pressing down. And then you can leave the leg in the air, circle the ankle around, and again, invite peace into the space, the ankle, the leg. Flex the foot, and if you want just a little bit more stretch and that doesn't feel like it would create any tension for you, and you're certainly welcome to bend the knee a little more as you invite the leg maybe a little closer to the body, always honoring your own limits. There's nothing peaceful about forcing the body into a position it's not ready to go. Let's bend the knee, bring that foot to the floor, bring the other knee in, and we'll bring both knees in toward the chest. Stretching the legs together toward the ceiling. The arms can come overhead or out to the sides. Out to the sides. And then knees back to the chest, hands to the knees. Inhaling, extending. And flex the feet at the top of that action. Relax the feet as they come down. A couple more like that. And then next time you're lifting the legs toward the ceiling, also take the arms and extend them toward the ceiling. We'll circle ankles and wrists a few times here. And then give the legs and the arms a shake. Releasing any tension, creating more and more space for peace. And then bringing the knees to the chest. And we'll release the feet to the floor. So again, take a moment here. You can let the hands rest on the floor or on the body somewhere. And observe how your body feels right now. Notice any sensations, whether they're pleasant or unpleasant. Notice anywhere where you may feel a little extra space or openness in your body. If there's areas of your body that feel uncomfortable, that feel in pain somehow this morning, maybe invite a little extra peace into those areas. You might use your breath to direct peace into wherever in your body feels like it needs a little extra peace this morning. We'll take a few more breaths here, really inviting that peace deeply into the body and acknowledging with compassion if peace is not coming easily to us today. When you feel ready, you can stretch the legs out if they're not already stretched out. Extend the arms overhead if that's comfortable for your shoulders, or otherwise to the sides is fine. And reach from the fingers to the feet and grow long. Breathing as if you could breathe right to the fingertips and the toes, spreading peace through the whole body with your breath. And then when you feel ready, slowly lower the arms down to your sides and bend your knees. And you can roll over onto your side. Use your opposite hand to bring you back to a seated position. So as you come back to your seated position, take a moment to resettle. It could be on a chair, as I was at the beginning of the class, or it could be on the floor, as I am now, whatever is more comfortable for you. Most of us aren't so used to sitting on the floor, so it can feel like tension, in which case just sit on a chair, sit on a bolster or a cushion, whatever is comfortable for you. So take a moment with the breath again. And the same as we did at the beginning, taking a breath in and then pausing for a second or two, and then releasing the breath completely. Breathing in as if you're inviting peace into your body with your breath. Holding that peace for a moment. And then as you exhale, letting go of any tension, any holding, any barriers to peace. Continue like that, breathing in, inviting peace in with your breath, holding that peace for a moment with your breath, and then exhaling, completely letting go of any tension, any barriers. Take a few more breaths here. Excuse me. And some of you might be familiar, I know some of you are familiar with the word Shanti, which is the word in Sanskrit that means peace. And there's also a very simple chant that goes along with this word and this idea. And in this chant, we say the word Shanti 3 times. And we can imagine that we're chanting peace to the body, peace to the mind, and peace to the breath that flows through us. And with the breath, we could add in the mind. Mind, breath, body. I think I said that actually, breath, mind, body. So 3 times, chanting peace. And I'll chant it once first. If you're not familiar with it, then you might listen the first time. If you're familiar with this chant, you're welcome to join in with me. You're also welcome to just listen. And I'll do it 3 times all together. So if you like, you can bring your hands together at your heart, or you might want to bring your hands over your heart. Take a moment to reconnect with your symbol of peace. And then if you like, you can chant with me or simply listen. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Put your palms together now, and as you go out into the rest of your day, or if you're watching this later, maybe it's the end of the day, see if you can take this idea of inviting peace into your life throughout the day. So noticing in those little pauses in your day and inviting peace in. And again, if peace feels elusive, try to bring as much compassion to yourself as possible. Namaste.